Hey y'all, I decided to make a little video showing the process that I use on the network, how I worked and how all the behind the scenes, a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. So it started off with one sketchbook, and I always have notes and stuff as the story goes. And I end up using the sketchbook for rough ideas, story ideas, all kind of stuff like that. And I always date them. So the project started August 2020, of course. So this was one of the first drawings I did, early drawings of the robot, K5, which is one of the main characters. So this was the first iteration of sketches trying to figure out how he would look. And some of these images, like this one, is used in the book and some of the poster art. Other ones aren't. Like these were never developed like that. But as the story goes and ideas go, this became important later on when the inside cover. And you end up doing hundreds of drawings. Hundreds of drawings. I had an idea originally that it was going to be more of kind of a Love and Rockets type of story. They're going to be like people who worked in the robot city, that type of thing. Then I kind of shook hand that idea. Various ideas. This was going to be inside the robot city. Some images of the robot war that I didn't use. Lines of refugees. Like I said, this was a long project, so here's an idea of like, this is some of the thoughts I had, so I write notes. I got the idea from something I saw about Guillermo del Toro, the director for Pacific Rim and Hellboy and stuff like that. He used to draw in his little notebook ideas and thoughts and whatever on whatever movie he was working on. I heard that he got that from Alfred Hitchcock. So I started using that type of idea, and it really worked for this project. Because that way, as I came up with ideas, I would destroy it, write it. Some of the notes I have in here I came back to, other ones I discarded. This was an idea for the city. I wanted something different. This character I liked a lot. I don't think I ever used him in the book itself, which kind of sucks. But there's images like this crowd scene is in the book. This was like that whole Love and Rockets mechanics type of character that I never used. A lot of stories takes a lot of time to develop. Again, this was early K5 drawing I had, when he was more size of a regular human, and I'm wearing shirts and pants and body armor, which doesn't make sense. Then this is Mayu, the main character, female detective, and this was early sketches of her, which is funny because originally it was going to be a guy. Mayu was going to be a guy. I think I might have missed the sketches already. But I decided to go away from the typical, don't get offended, white male superhero character lead guy. So I decided to go with African American Asian female as the main character. His other images of K5 as he developed, he was particularly hard to figure out how to draw him. Here's images that end up in the story. This one didn't. But all the way through here is just like hundreds of drawings trying to figure out images. One point K5 was going to have a gun. Then I said, that's kind of stupid. This was an early idea of the gang that becomes in the story. I liked the forehead markings. So that was one of the first drawings I ended up coming back to later on when I started to develop that part of the story. Some of the images you use became parts of the story, other ones didn't. Again, these are all early K5 drawings trying to develop his character and his image. Even this, I mean, it's funny when I go back to look at this and what I end up using. I used part of this image, all the body changed the face. And then sometimes I marked when I had the ideas. So this is how I work. See, here's a picture, double page of K5, trying to figure out his face. And I posted him online, some friends and family can see and get input, outside input. Like I said, it took a while to come up with his look. This one was kind of funny, but to me, it was too human, too close to human. Then the action sequences I had later on, both of these images ended up in the book with modifications to K5's face. These two were also used in the book. Like I said, a lot of the stuff ended up going directly scanned and rearranged in the book. The murder victim, the doctor, was also originally a male, and at some point I decided to change him, so this image, with the exception of the male character, is also in the book. So I changed him right here. Victim change. October 2021. I don't know why I made that choice, but it worked. This is the cover to end up being the cover art. I did this image years ago and didn't make it into a finished product until probably about 2 years ago. And I started putting out the image of just the arms and the legs and the eyes appearing, and people loved that image. So it became so popular that I ended up using that as a cover. And here's the picture of the doctor changed. This is just how I work. This is some of the stuff. This was the original gang leader. And I ended up using the image, but not him as the lead guy, because I decided to go away from the small little smart guy to somebody different. There's some images of the Robot City, the city inside the city. It's in the book. Different ideas of it. At one point I was going to show how their industry works and how stuff is actually outside the city, but then that became too much to add to the storyline, and it didn't really impact it any. So again, this is Mayu sleeping. I didn't use that. Her walking with K5, kind of a one of those typical movie slow-mo walk, Michael Bay type of thing. A lot of different images, stuff that comes up, the parts inside the Robot City. This became important later on. This was part of the early storyline. And like I said, notes and notes and notes. Here's my idea. I put it in here, come back, revisit it, use it, not use it. And what's funny is that this whole story, this was one book. This is my first sketchbook. That said, it led to a second one. Second one, of course, dated December 2021. More sketched out stuff. Figuring stuff out. The robot apocalypse, I guess, the fall of humanity. Drawings, just character drawings, a lot of Mayu. More of her, trying to develop how she looks, because you're trying to become consistent with the character drawings. A lot of stuff. It's amazing when you look back how much time and energy you spent. All these notes for the storyline. Sometimes I work out dialogue. I'll have good ideas for word balloons and how much information in each page. This was the intro to the two characters, which is in the book. Part of their conversations, and if you see the finished page, it will look almost like this, with the exception of his face. Because at this point, I still was not happy with how he looked. Some images I never used. Aunt Lorraine, which was named after one of my favorite aunts who passed last year, was another character that tells a little backstory of the story and Mayu and their relationship, and she took a while to develop. I did a number of sketches of her. I got tired of I wanted her to be hurt from the war and somewhat disabled, and I just got tired of the same two-face character thing where there's a line down the face. We've seen that a million times, and I just got tired of doing the same thing. So again, more character drawings, and some of it was used, some of it wasn't. I had Mayu on the train, but never used that one again. K5, never used that. A lot of these sketches I never used. They were just practice or just trying to develop. The Spike, which was the police headquarters, that's in the book. All these different sketches were part of basically 2 panels, I believe. No, actually 1 panel. All this was 1 panel in the book. There's another sketch that's in the book. There's a whole page art of the city because I wanted to show scale. I did change this little flyer. That was an interesting thing too. I was trying to figure out how to get the characters from outside to the inside. And initially you want to show how somebody does that. You don't want to just have them cutscene. So this was going to be some kind of mechanical flying ship that she gets on. Then later on I decided to change it, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. But in the storyline, it's out there. But it was fun to do, and I love how the art looked on that. So here's how K5 started developing more and more to the almost blockish type of head that I kind of liked. So these were more sketches when I started nailing it in more of where I thought he should go. These are more sketches and stuff. Name of the doctor that I finally came up with based off of a veterinarian that my friend used to work with. I always liked the name, so I used the name. He's part of it. More dialogue from the characters. K5 is more toward the way he looks in the book. Same thing with that. Scenes and dialogue from inside the city, inside the storyline, showing how the story goes. More art inside the city. Now the Robot City I wanted to look different. I kind of had the idea of using kind of like inspired from movies like Forbidden Planet, where big clunky machines are doing stuff that you don't know what they're doing. Since she's one of the few humans to go inside this robot city, so I just wanted to look physically different besides the color difference. So here's dialogue in the storyline, the murder victim. Here's that re-imaged cover art, and that's it right now.